Hey everyone, your designers are here.
I'm Anita at Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly at My Soulful Home.
We've got tips and tricks and decorating advice for you today, so let's get started.
This is episode 172, Furniture, Clean, Fix, or Toss. And remember, you can get our show notes at decoratingtipsandtricks.com/172.
Oh, I'm so excited about this, girls, because this is what I do all day long.
What, repair furniture?
We all as decorators and as bloggers, we're always, thinking, how do I make that look nice? Or can I fix this thing? Or how can I make it look better?
Now, I thought
what do I need to toss?
Mm-hmm. I thought in a previous episode, you said you got rid of all your vintage things. Did I?
I did. Oh, yeah.
So you're not fixing furniture. You're tossing it, right?
Well, I'm not tossing it. I am getting it out of the house. But I do have a lot, like my my kitchen table, the one that's made out of barn beams and handmade.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The base of it split down the center.
Oh, ouch.
I know.
All that concrete's got to be
not the concrete
heavy.
table. This is my kitchen table.
Okay.
And we're figuring out what to do with it. I mean, how to do this. And I think this may be a job that's a little bigger than Bobby wants to take on.
Yeah.
Because the base is very round and bulbous. So somehow, I don't know if we're going to filler it, what we're going to do. So we may have to get a professional in. But yeah, there's always things to be fixed.
Well, I just pick up everybody else's tossed off furniture.
You do?
Honestly, I went through my house the other day. I don't remember what prompted me to do this, but I went room to room on the first floor, and there are only 3 pieces of new furniture.
Wow. But your home
Isn't that crazy?
But your home reflects that so beautifully. And you fix them up to be one of a kind.
Well, you'd never know, though, that the stuff, half of it, you found it on by the side of the road or somewhere.
I'm telling you, I would just love to sit in a panel van outside your house.
You want to follow her around and see what she's doing.
I mean, it must be hysterical seeing her tricks up and down the sidewalk.
It has to be in something mobile because I do go out and do this.
You only
further from home as well.
You only have to be as fast as Emmett. You don't need a van.
Yeah, you don't need
a van. This is true.
Well, I want to throw out my favorite tip. And so, I worked at a furniture antique store for several years before I started blogging, and I know their big secret for fixing furniture.
Hey, but you don't have to have vintage or antique furniture, though. To use these, you can use these tips on new furniture that has gone awry.
Sure. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm right. I mean, I think we're doing a mix of a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about now is if you have damage to the top of a table, for example, or something's dinged a leg of a piece of furniture, if it's stained, the product that we used all the time is called Restore a Finish, and it's like Restore a Finish, and you take a steel wool. And a very fine steel wool, and you kind of rub it in with the grain, and it will fill in.
Wait a minute. Can I just clear this up?
Sure.
This is, you're literally taking that and it loosens up the finish that's on it. Is that right? Is that what I'm getting in my mind?
Right. Now, if it's got a high sheen on it, it's not going to break through that finish. But if you have a matte finish, if it's not sealed, if it has a polyurethane, good luck. It's just I don't know what you're going to do without stripping it. Yeah, you're going to have to strip it. But if it's just kind of wood that's stained and it's got wax or a polish on it, that's not a hard coat, you can use this, and any kind of dings, it's going to it comes in different shades. So you can get it if you have dark wood, it comes in dark. If you have light wood, it's got a light stain for pine. But it's going to, any scratches, it's going to fill in and make them the same color as the rest of the wood. And it's going to help with any kind of scratches, any dings, even watermarks. I've seen it work rather well.
That is a really great product. Let's put that, make sure that goes into the show notes.
Definitely.
And if you don't want to buy something, we have a beautiful chestnut bar that sits in our breakfast nook. and we have some water glassed round marks on it. And my husband, I've sort of been ignoring them, but this is his baby. Like he got it maybe 10 years ago for Christmas and he was so thrilled. So I said to him 2 nights ago, what's the white stuff all over our bar? And he says, it's mayonnaise. And I was so impressed because I knew that my brother-in-law had come up and I think over making bourbon, whatevers. He said, hey, you can get that out by, rubbing mayonnaise on it. Now, 2 of the stains did come out. The one that has been there forever did not. And I've heard, though, that you can use ash, like get some ashes, like out of your fireplace or out of your fire pit, and mix that with mayonnaise and do the same thing. Rub it in.
If your home remedy doesn't work, try the Restore Finish.
Well, what I'm saying is you don't have to mess you don't have to mess with the finish.
So what kind of damage did the mayo repair?
A water ring.
Water ring. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I also have heard, but I've not used it myself, that toothpaste rubbed in and left and then wiped off also can take water rings away, but it has to be the non-gel kind.
The white one.
Paste.
Yes, the paste. Right.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want bleach furniture, get the ultra whitening toothpaste and rub it all over.
That might be a slow.
I wonder if that does anything because that probably has a little peroxide in it.
I doubt it.
Oh, wow.
How well does it bleach your teeth?
This sounds like
well.
my first run-in with Sun-In.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that
like you're
story.
15 and you're at the beach and you just, I have very dark hair in my natural hair color. And I was thinking, wow, I would just maybe love some really pretty blonde highlights, not thinking at 15, if you spray the whole top of your head, the whole top of your head will turn orange.
No.
Yes, because of the peroxide in it. And then my ends, before my time, my ends were dark.
Oh, you were ombre.
Mm-hmm, I was ombre.
Upside down ombre, sort of.
Yeah, that's really right. Yeah, Evie does an ombre every at least once a year. So yeah.
Oh, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So you just have to be careful. I tried like an inconspicuous part of the furniture first. And hey, that's a lot of the advice we're giving today. We're just saying do that first. Try it on.
You can try a few things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you found your little side table on the side of the road and you don't really care, just take a pretty tray and plop it right on top of it.
Call it a day.
Call it a day.
Well, and I bought some old tables that were really in the top of the finish was in really bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did one time when I was in a hurry was I just put like a little, table topper on it, just a little very small tablecloth or a napkin or a towel, like a decorative towel, like a Turkish towel or a tea towel. And
then we should have called this.
That covered it up.
Clean, fix, hide, or toss.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
In fact, that's another tip for when I had a mahogany dining room table and I was kind of done with that look for my dining room and I wasn't ready to buy a new one. I just covered it up with a big tablecloth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
absolutely.
you did that for quite some time. Another product that is very inexpensive and good to have on hand, those little stain pens. I think Minwax makes them and maybe some other stain product companies. I have very dark floors now. Yeah, and somebody will come in, with heels on, or you'll drop something and it'll take a little divot out of the floor. And then the underwood is not stained. So you just go with your little stain pen. And what I do is don't do it a really heavy coat and then walk away because you'll walk over it in your socks and then you'll be dragging it through and onto your
on
carpet.
your white carpet.
Get on everything.
Exactly.
Yes.
So do the stain pen sort of light, then dab it with paper towel and then let it sit for about a half hour or so and then come back and do it again.
Do you ever
and then that should come the same color.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever just use a brown magic marker?
Well, when no one's looking and I don't have a stain pen, I have done
because
you have done that.
I definitely.
But sometimes you have to be very creative with that. You want to have a very
Honest match.
voluminous set of markers, and you might want to, to have a dark and a light, and you might want to, shade it and do a whole little thing.
Oh, I bet you that would even be prettier. Actually,
have you ever heard of using a walnut on a floor? I've heard of that
like a
too.
walnut stain. Yes. Yeah.
Well, a literal walnut.
Yeah, walnuts make great stains. So I was just thinking, I guess
I've used that before too.
Excuse me. What do you do with the walnut?
Rub it on.
Rub it on. And then you don't eat it though.
In the shell or out of the shell?
No, out of the shell.
The meat.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I would think a walnut is kind of beige inside.
Well, but it's got the brown on the outside. I don't know. Just try it.
Well, let's move from maybe before we move on, let's talk about if you like your piece of furniture and it's a total ruin as far as the finish, you can strip it and, and sand it and restain it. But hey, that's too much like work for me. And me, paint it. I think everybody should learn how to paint a piece of furniture. Because
that's
it
in the
just
fixed
brings
category.
Such interest. Well, we're just talking about hard pieces of furniture.
Right.
So I thought that would be a good one. And I'm looking for right now, I've just, we've had painters here and people doing hardwood floors in our master bedroom. And we're totally redoing it from like the floor up, like I've done every other room in my house. And these are our last two, are the sitting room upstairs. And I'm looking for a big armoire, like a big old armoire. I don't care if it's pine or cherry or whatever. And I'm going to paint it. And I'm so excited because I have these two new beautiful pieces that look like bleached wood. Mm-hmm. And they're sort of nondescript, but I'm thinking I'm going to paint this armoire like a beautiful graphite. And so painting is gives such drama to your room.
Well, it covers a multitude of sins, doesn't it?
But it also brings pieces back to life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to be Bobby's new dresser. Just a great big old armoire.
Oh, that'll be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if it doesn't have drawers, if it just has shelves, he's so happy, like with his clothes rolled up, a la I'm going on a trip and I'm putting them in my luggage.
Oh, right.
So, and just put them in some baskets in there.
Yeah. And if the armoire that you find doesn't have shelves, it just has the rod for the hanging, you can easily have shelves made. I did that here for the one that's in the barn. And now I keep the extra quilts and blankets for when the girls have sleepovers and they just boop and pull it out. I'm a huge fan of wood glue and small vices.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because that's kind of my kryptonite. If it's wobbly, it really makes me nervous. I mean, I have screwed it on the bottom. You can glue it and use the vices. I mean, so my question to you is, so I don't usually mess with that, but I just want to ask you, have you done this to a chair? And
would I
effective?
say it? Would I recommend it if I hadn't done it to a chair myself?
Yes, I don't know.
I wouldn't.
I like wood glue also. I think that's a wonderful product. But here's another one. Have you noticed that if you get any furniture, you girls get so many vintage things, but I just got 2 new chairs that I'm going to actually put in my blog about at the end of the week, because I'm sort of changing colors a little bit. And my husband gets so frustrated because they have screw-on legs. They come in a big box. Mm-hmm. And they have the legs separate, but they sometimes, must be hard on chairs, because sometimes the legs get wobbly. It gets stripped. What am I thinking of? The
threads.
Yeah, the thread. Yes, gets stripped. Hey, Gorilla Glue.
Oh, wow, yeah.
My fave, and Gorilla Glue has so many new products out.
Yeah, just don't get the one that bubbles up.
Well, they don't.
Oh, that's hard to work with.
Although that stuff you're stuck for life. I've told the scamp story on here, how we fixed a mailbox with it, and Bob had all of the stuff bubbling. So he took a couple paper towels and wiped it all up, and our fluffy Pomeranian rolled all in it, and totally had to be shaved. So yeah, but they have a lot that don't foam anymore.
Yeah. No, they do, but just be careful.
Well, which I'm sure for many applications it's great because it does expand to fill the space. But
it does.
Sometimes
it
you
really
don't.
does. It's
sometimes you think
awesome.
everything's just right. You walk away and you come back and it's it's bubbling up. It's a fountain basically in your
right.
But it's a fabulous product. So if you have a thread that's been stripped on like the bottom of the table, like a pedestal or a leg of a chair, it's wonderful. Now you'll never get it off, but most people don't want to pull up the leg of a chair.
Yeah. Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Yep. Okay, let's jump up and down on some upholstered fabric.
Love it. So excited about it.
I want to give a few options of when I would either pass it up if you're looking to buy it or get rid of it if it's yours.
Okay. Yes. This
and
I do.
Are we talking about any furniture or upholstered?
Upholstered.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay.
we're upholstered. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, and I have to say, as much as I do take in orphans on a regular basis, I don't take in very many upholstered orphans because you have to be really careful about that, right?
That's true.
And
I've taken in like mites.
I've taken in
bugs.
quite a few, but you do have to be careful. And here's the one thing: if there's any kind of funky smell, I don't even want to touch it. If there's a bad smell,
don't attempt it.
No, and you have to be prepared, don't you think, Anita, to really redo it?
Yeah, and if it's upholstered piece and you're buying it secondhand, 99% of the time, the fabric is not something you're going to want.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So be prepared, consider that in the cost, the fabric and the upholstery. If you don't have an upholstery guy, get an upholstery guy. Start asking around, find someone who does a really good work, who's not expensive. And they're out there, but you kind of have to have the secret handshake, the password to find these people.
Well,
Anita,
I think it's a lost
tip.
art.
Ding, 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 ding. Get your bell. Upholstery, having things reupholstered is such an easy way to go if you have the right guy. And I have a guy. I think we all have a guy.
Yeah, we've got a guy. So, well, the thing too about the smell, since we had in Houston some bad flooding with Hurricane Harvey, I'm going to bring this one up again. If you have any furniture that has been in floodwaters, get rid of it. Don't even. I would not even bother trying to clean it.
Good tip.
It's that's just, I just don't even want to go into it, but I'm just going to trust me. You don't want it in your house.
She can get really gross. So let's just move on.
No. I know. I'm trying to avoid being gross. So just go ahead and
Okay.
get rid
Can I just say this? I think that not only reupholstering, but slip covering. And I know Anita does her own slip covering, and I do like minimal slip covering, like a bench. Is a really wonderful way to go. And if you can sort of paint or put a beautiful new finish on like the legs, like I did, like the legs of my bench. I bought a new bench, totally redid it, painted the legs, did a beautiful sort of chippy treatment on it, and recovered it. I reupholstered it, and then recovered it with a drop cloth skirt, which really that's my favorite. And it was so inexpensive. And
did you make that, or did you have that done?
No, I made it, and it had the
beautiful.
nice pleats, pleating on the bottom of it. I saw Anita just did some beautiful little French chairs, and she made a blue chair pad with this ruffle that is out of this world.
Oh, thanks.
So, those things are inexpensive, but boy, can it change the look of the furniture that you have or find or, want to repurpose.
Right. And I've gotten some old pieces that they found were full of horsehair, which is another thing that tells you it's super old. But just think about that. Do you want that kind of cleaned out, and you want some new fresh foam put in there. So I think it's worth, like I said, if it's secondhand, I kind of like somebody getting in there and making sure there's no bugs or anything in there and getting all of that replaced. And sometimes, I don't even want to say this, but sometimes there are bugs in furniture. And this could be in upholstered pieces, or it could even be the woodworms in old furniture. So you really do have to be careful about that. And Kelly and I buy old stuff all the time, but I know of people that have bought furniture and then it did have the woodworms, and they were getting ready to infest the other pieces in their room, and they had to have that. Basically, they tented the piece and, injected it with who knows what. I'm sure very toxic
so
stuff.
This is just a cautionary tale.
So really. If you...
And that may be a toss it,
Well, right. Well, it depends on the piece. But one way you can test is to put a white sheet under your piece of furniture. If you think you might have a problem, put that white piece under there and look and see if anything falls on it. Or if you're at the store looking at it, again, see if you can look underneath the piece and see if you can see anything that looks like shavings or droppings or anything like that. And that would be a telltale sign that you might want to pass.
Yes, leave that one there.
Well, I was at the local flea market here, not the Rose Bowl, but a smaller one they have at Pasadena Community College with a friend years ago. And she was looking for a little desk for her daughter, who was probably about 8 at the time. And we spied the most darling little desk, and it was already chippy, and just, she loved shabby chic, and it was just perfect. So this is not an easy flea market. Like, there's not for the faint of heart. And it was about 104 degrees. And we carried that thing along with all the other stuff we had bought to her car. We kept saying, okay, I need a break. Okay, my hand hurt. As little as it was, it weighed a lot of money. It weighed a lot, and it didn't cost a lot of money. We get it to her car. We put it in the back. We drive it home. She calls me about 2 hours later. She'd put it right away up in her daughter's room. Termites.
Oh,
no. As soon as they got there, she was put, her daughter's little pencil, jar and a little frame. And she was, decking it all out. And all of a sudden, she said they just started crawling out from the drawer.
Oh, that would be my nightmare. And so, I think you do need to be careful. And so we want to make sure to kind of check for these things. But I don't want it to turn you off from buying vintage because there's so many.
Good. 98 of
beautiful
100
pieces.
times you're going to get a nice piece.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
very,
yeah.
I think it's going to be more an unusual thing to get a piece that's infested or
Right.
something. I
Right.
mean, but it can happen, but I've never had that problem.
Here's something else. Listen, I'm going to change gears and do some upholstering. If you have a new piece of furniture, like I have furniture in my living room and it needs to be cleaned. So I'm going to have it professionally cleaned, and I have only one carpet / furniture cleaner I will use. I'm very picky, and you should be too. And they're going to come in, and I was just reading all these opinions online, and they go everywhere, and from experts from 6 months to 2 years. Here's what I say. If you haven't had it cleaned in a year or two, you might want to look at it, and you might want to get it cleaned and freshen up. My company says once a year. I tend to go a little longer, like once every 2 years, depending on the wear, and I'll have it cleaned, and then I'll have it Scotch guarded. And that makes such a big difference in the longevity. But you can also, with your upholstered pieces, you should also be vacuuming them yourself. Like get your crevice piece out, go in the crevice when you vacuum. Use one of your little upholstery tools and go over that, because that's going to really help. Now I'm careful because I have like two white chairs. So I make sure I clean that upholstery brush before I touch my chairs to it, because you don't want to get any, as we call it, schmutzy from one piece of furniture to another. So if you've got
slip covers, you can just throw those in the wash.
You can.
Which is what I do. And that's another reason to have slip covers. If you can sew, I think it's fabulous to make your own, but you can also hire someone to do it for you. Sometimes if you're getting ready to buy furniture, I know some sofas now come with their own slip covers. And we bought
like
chairs
mine
recently that have slip covers.
My sofa came with a slip cover, and I had two of my club chairs slip covered, and my sofas are real light ivory, my chairs are white, and this is one of the most asked questions I get. I'm afraid I love the white or the ivory, but I'm afraid to put it on. I think it hides the dirt just fine. And I have like a footstool that has, it's slip covered, or like a nice hassock. And I just keep throwing that right in the laundry, and it just comes out so nice. Yes, of course.
Okay, so I have some tips for you, everyone listening, if they are going to hire someone to come and clean their upholstered furniture. So, there are people that do that, and there are people who are qualified to do that, right? So you want to make sure, and there's a way that you can do that. So there are 2 certifications that you can ask for. They could have one or the other. One is the International Cleaning and Restoration Association certification, or the International Institute of Cleaning and Restoration certification.
They sound very similar. Tell us a little bit about each one.
Well, I don't know exactly what the difference in the program is. Yeah,
okay.
So they can be certified for either one.
Okay, so these are both good.
Yeah.
Or just go to the most reputable one in your city. I mean, usually that's what I did, and I don't worry a thing about it.
Okay, let me finish up.
So
they will also have the name of the technician and his or her identification number. And yes, the names are very similar, but one is an institute and the one doesn't have institute in it. So there are 2 different things. It's like going to school to be, whatever, a nail technician or a hairdresser or something like that. You have to get a certification. And so if somebody has a company, they should have only certified technicians being sent to your home so they know what to do when they're faced with all kinds of different fabrics, right? So you want somebody that has skills in doing it. It's not like you would just go drag somebody out from, the grocery store and have them cut your hair, right? So you can't just have anybody come in and clean your upholstery, because that's a big investment. And just like Yvonne said, you can, sort of either delay or prolong, or I guess you could even avoid ever having someone come in to clean your upholstery if you vacuum it yourself, and then do that weekly. And then you can use these mist cleaning products. There's so many on the market. And then blot, do not rub, right? And you're going to mist with warm water. And then
you're talking about a stain.
Yeah, if you've had a stain or just even to refresh, because this is what the cleaners are going to do. They're using the same sort of thing.
I usually go right for the club soda.
Well, that's a stain, right? This is
and
just
you get it up right away.
Generalized cleaning. You can mist it with warm water, right? And then you can use a wet dry vac and then blot it with a towel and just don't rub.
Wow. Or for $20 a chair, you can call that's what mine costs, your best person, best dry furniture cleaner out there, and they can just do it for you.
Yeah, and that's a good price. They're saying the average for an 8-foot sofa is about $150.
I mean, think about that. Especially I think if you have any color sofa, because sofas, they're going to attract pets and dirt and schmutz, and people's behinds are sitting on them. So I think it's really important that you get your furniture clean, and your house will smell better too. Can I talk about one more thing?
Sure. And I had something else to say too. So go ahead.
Okay. Let's talk about, I have a sofa, and it's a very good sofa in my family room. And my cushions are sort of sagging. Not my back cushions, the ones we sit
cushions.
on. Seat cushions. Yep. So I was really distraught over this. And I'm thinking, I've only had the sofa for like 3 years. What am I going to do? It's a name brand. Unfortunately, the company doesn't, stand behind their product very well. But I could have the seats restuffed.
Yeah, that's right. Sure, that's a great idea.
Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health: potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT.
And also, I mean, you can even get, I'm thinking, because the one in the living room is foam core down wrapped. I'm really thinking of having that just for the seats.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And that's a really important thing to do, and it'll extend the life of your sofa.
So I wanted to mention one other thing because we were talking about should you reupholster it, should you clean it, whatever. And I wanted to mention why I would buy something that has to be upholstered versus, or why I would reupholster something versus buying something new, or when I would buy something new versus,
good one.
Right. So if it's a club chair, for example, maybe it's 10 years old. I don't know, 5 years old. No, I'm not sure how. I believe our expert is saying 7 years is when you're supposed to replace the chairs. But anyway, but you've got a club chair and it's fairly new. I would just replace it rather than reupholstering it unless it's really, really special.
Or if you just are like I was tired. I have beautiful leather club chairs. They just don't work in my room. They're not that old, so I had them slip covered.
Right. So
just so I didn't have to get rid of them because they were still so nice.
Right. Now, if you want to keep them, that's great. But if you're saying, oh, should I reupholster this or just sell it or get rid of it? The other thing I look at is, so if there's nothing special about it, here's the thing. You're not going to save money buying new versus reupholstering something. It's usually about the same price. So I usually do new unless it's an old piece that I have or that I want to buy that has some beautiful carving on it, because that hand carving is not something you can get in a new piece. And so I buy old and have it reupholstered, not for money saving things ever, because I can usually buy something new for about the same price.
I so agree with you, or less.
But
reupholstering can be very expensive.
The thing with the old pieces is that they have this carving on there often that you cannot get in a new piece. And so that's when I would reupholster an old piece. So as long as it's, and again, if it doesn't have a bad smell, if it's not rickety, but it has beautiful lines, then I'm going to go ahead and reupholster that. And I'll buy it like that and just reupholster it. Or maybe I already have it in my house and I'm going to redo
Well, let me just put in another tip for a product to use on wood furniture to clean, and that's Simply Green. That's a wonderful, it's not toxic, and it just takes off all that grease and grime, especially if you're going to use, if you want to put another finish on it or paint it. So let's just get that in the show notes. It's my very favorite thing to use on a piece of furniture if I have an old piece, or if a piece gets grimy, and it really works great to take off grease on kitchen cabinets.
Oh, good idea.
If you encounter chairs, sometimes dining chairs that have an upholstered seat, but the rest of it is wood, and you think, oh gosh, yuck, I don't like that fabric, or I don't really want to trust what's inside that foam. I would like to have these redone. And, sometimes you see the chair and it's so inexpensive, and it is very true that upholstering is expensive if you had it done professionally. So look at the bottom of the chair. Normally, there's about 4 to 6 screws that you can simply unscrew the seat, and then you can buy yourself some fabric and then get a very heavy duty staple gun, and you can buy foam at Joann's and cut the foam and just wrap it tight, make a nice corner, like almost like a corner you would do, when you're making a bed, fold it over, make it nice and tight, and then staple it on the bottom and screw them back on.
And there are so many YouTube videos on how to do that. And it looks brand new. You've got a brand new chair that works with the rest of your decor.
Yeah, Kelly, I'm glad you pointed that out, because if it's just a seat cushion on a dining room style chair, those are so easy to just do yourself. You don't really need to know anything about reupholstery. You just kind of need one of those, staple guns.
Right. The one tip that I would give in addition is, if you're doing a patterned fabric, make sure when you're laying it out that, say if it's, let's just say for, sake of the tip, cabbage roses, right? And so say there's a rose pattern. You want to make sure that each seat lays in the same spot on the fabric.
You want to make sure that cabbage rose appears in the same spot on every chair.
Right. So whatever your pattern is, you just want to make sure that you have enough fabric that each seat can reveal the same look of the pattern once you turn it over.
Oh, so smart.
Well,
so smart.
Let me add on to what you're saying. I think if it's a bold pattern, I agree with you in some cases, but in some cases, I don't think it matters so much that it's exactly the same.
Well, if it's an overall pattern where all the things are about the same size, yeah, it doesn't really matter. But if there's one like POW thing, then you kind of don't want the POW thing off to the side on one and in the middle on the other.
I'm going to say make your chairs match lovingly.
Well, I would right. I mean, just play it by ear. Just look at your fabric and kind of think, is this going to look okay if I use different parts of the fabric on different chairs? Or should it be exactly the same?
And I think lovingly disagreeing, I think that if you look at professionals, they're all the same. So, you just want to try to make it as neat and as uniform as possible. I have a question though. What is the last piece of furniture you tossed away? Now, Kelly, this may not apply to you.
Oh my gosh, I can't even think.
Well, what do you mean by tossed away? I give stuff away all the time. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that you
I just gave away a nightstand.
There you go. So actually, so did we. Because we're getting a new one. And this one just was a little, it's way beyond its time.
Well, I'm starting to find good homes for my orphans. I know I said I was going to do it
You're
already,
so
but
cute.
I really haven't. I really haven't let any of them go yet. Because, you have to really check out the people they're going to and make sure that they're good people.
Do they need to, do you visit them? Do you make them sign an adoption
visitation
form?
rights.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
so it's like
consult me if they're painting it.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I really haven't given away too many yet. But I will.
Aww.
I will. And if anybody lives near me, I have a great upholsterer. He is not inexpensive, but he's fantastic. And you will be very happy. So if anybody lives in the Southern California area, you could email me if you're looking for an upholsterer.
Kelly, you're a generous woman. Some people would never give that information away.
Oh, well, they're a very nice family business, so I'm happy to pass them along. So remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Hope you got lots of tips today. Bye. Hey, everybody. We want to thank you so much for listening to Decorating Tips and Tricks. And we want to make it even easier for you to listen. And it's easier if you subscribe. You just click the subscribe button on our website, www.decoratingtipsandtricks.com, or you can subscribe through Apple Podcast or any of your favorite podcast listeners. When you subscribe, DTT comes free right to you 3 days a week. So until next time.